Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Can you put the sound of the microphone a little bit lower? Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for your participation. We are students of the Department of Aeromechanics and Flight Engineering, which is the part of Moscow Institute of Physics and Technology. As you can remember, we were speaking about SAGI as an affiliated organization on the previous fifth student conference, and now sixth student conference, an affiliated organization, is devoted to the 50th anniversary of DAFE. And continuing the subject, we are going to tell you about other affiliated to DAFE organizations, such as Public Joint Stock Company, Scientific and Production Association Almaz, Ilyushin Aviation Complex, Gazprom VNI and Institute of Oil and Gas Academy of Sciences, Baranov Central Institute of Aviation Motors, and Tikhomirov Scientific Research Institute of Instrument Design. And firstly, due to the presence of you guests, let me repeat the reference about our department. The Department of Aeromechanics and Flight Engineering was founded in 1965 in the Moscow suburb of Zhukovsky. It was established to train unique specialists in physics and engineering of flight. And it's situated in close proximity to the leading aircraft research institute and design bureaus. Moreover, studying in the third grade, students can choose an affiliated organization to work at, which is important. They can carry out their own investigations, they can conduct experiments and work on real projects as well. In this case, MIPT graduates have a considerable experience in aeromechanics and flight engineering. So let's don't waste our time and listen to the first presentation about Ilyushin Aviation Complex. Thank you.
Thank you, Kirill. My name is Sergey Kuznetsov. Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to tell you about the Open Joint Stock Company, Ilyushin Aviation Complex. We have divided our presentation into 4 parts. As you can see on the slide, we're going to start with a historical overview. After that, we'll introduce you scientific and technical challenges the company facing nowadays. After that, my colleagues will tell you about some prospective projects, and finally, I will introduce the company's activities referring to the students of our department. If you have any questions, please leave them till the end of the presentation, when we'll do our best to answer them. So, let's get started. And I'd like to invite my colleague Maxim Raskevich, who will give you a brief historical overview. Please, Maxim.
Thank you, Sergey. At first, I would like to mention that Ilyushin Aviation Complex is aimed at research and technical development of aircrafts. It was founded in 1933 by Sergey Vladimirovich Ilyushin, who was appointed the director of the institute. During all its history, Aviation Complex has developed more than 200 modifications of airplanes and had produced about 60,000 aircrafts. They are notable for high reliability, simple design, and easy maintenance. I'd like to tell you about some very remarkable aircrafts. On the one hand, there are some aircrafts for military air forces, like close air support, like Il-2 and Il-10, long-range bomber like Il-10, which made a huge impact during the Second World War. Ilyushin Aviation Complex also produced very famous airplanes like special tankers and many other airplanes. On the other hand, Aviation complex is very famous for civil airplanes, which traveled 100 million passengers throughout its history. There are planes like Il-18 and Il-86. Now I'd like to invite Semyon, who will tell you about technical and scientific.
Thank you, Maxim. Today Illusion specialists work on further equipping of Il-76 MD. They now mount new generation air-mobile medical models that will help to evacuate critically wounded victims to hospital quickly. By the same token, it lets the specialists do all the resuscitation procedures on board. On the wall, 5 aircraft are estimated to be equipped, but meantime, only one is already equipped. It's suitable for ground and flight tests. To a certain extent, Illusion specialists are taking part in researching and testing new Russian engine, PD-14. They changed mother engine of flight regulatory aircraft to PD-14. It is power plant for new Airbus in development MC-21 narrow body. Strength calculations for the new pylon as well as testing for flutter and ground effects were completed, clearing the aircraft to fly its entire envelope. After that, on the 20th of October, the aircraft was stowed from the maintenance hangar. Since it had happened, you may spot it conducting flying research over Zhukovsky. Now I'd like to tell you about pilot's achievements. This summer, under the command of Il-76 VD-90, TD-90 VD, chief pilot, the crew carried out successful landing on the ice runway of Novolazarevskaya Air Station in Antarctica. That was the first landing on the ice runway this type of Il-76 with PD-90 engine. The results of this experiment will be used and will be added to flight manuals related with landing on the ice-covered runways. Now I'd like to introduce Tatiana, who will tell you about Illusion Perspective project.
Thank you, Shama. Now, if you look at the screen, you will see 3 aircraft models which I'm going to tell you about. The first one is Il-76 MD-19A. It's created on the basis of Il-76 MD. For the purposes of further improvement, this type of aircraft, by way of modernizing the line and installing more powerful, quiet and economical PS-19A-76 engines. New aircraft complies eco standards for noise level and standards for emission of harmful substances into the atmosphere. Also, the flying equipments have been completely modernized. The aircraft use modern flying and navigation systems. All this allowed for expanding the flying geography of Il-76 MD-19A in local and international airlines. Now I would like to give the floor to Vladimir, who will tell you about the next 2 planes.
Thank you, Tatiana. Now I'm going to tell you about last 2 airplanes. So the
multi-purpose transport aircraft is being developed within the framework of interstate agreement between Russia and India. Previous slide, please. Previous slide, please. Something went wrong. So, according to the regulatory documents, the APT is classified as a strategic, tactical, medium military transport aircraft, ensuring transportation of a wide variety of different cargoes up to 20 tons for a distance of 2,000 kilometers from unpaved and artificial airstrips. The design aircraft is made to standard aerodynamic design with high-mounted moderate sweep-back wing, T-tail unit, and two turbojet engines are placed on pylons under the wing. It's planned to equip with two turbojet PS90A76 engines with maximum takeoff thrust of 16,000 kg force. The concept of aviation electronics complex allows for modernization and expansion opportunities due to its open architecture. So, the light military transport aircraft, IL-112V, is designed for transporting and parachuting light weaponry and equipment, cargo and military personnel, as well as for transporting a wide variety of cargoes when operated in commercial services. It is capable of auto-landing to categorized aerodromes and manual landing to aerodromes poorly equipped with or having no radar technical equipment. Now, I would like to give the floor to Sergey, who will tell you about our company's activities referring to students of our department.
Thank you, Vladimir. Above all, Ilyushin Aviation Complex carries out a program of target education for students. MIPT is represented by a section Special Aircraft and Aerial Information and Measurement Systems of DAFE. The section's education programs are focused on development of cutting-edge aviation electronics, fiber optic communication technologies, and computer-aided design systems. It is also worth mentioning that some of the main areas of training and research activities of the section are the following: calculation of center of mass and moments of inertia of moving objects, defroster systems, and development of aerial refueling technologies. Now, our presentation comes to the end, and in conclusion, I'd like to point that Ilyushin specialists solve lots of very special problems referring to aviation technologies. And moreover, Ilyushin Aviation Complex is a big organization involved in complex process of aircraft development. And now, thank you for your attention, and you're welcome with your questions.
I have questions. I have a question for all of your speakers. Could they step forward, please? All of you. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So there is design and there is science. What is the major difference between design and science? Step by step, first, second, and so on. Go ahead.
Well, thank you for the question. Well, to my opinion, the difference between design and science is that science is the activity aimed at research some new areas of knowledge, and design is the area of of making this knowledge useful in practice. Yes, for me.
Thank you. Next, please.
I think design and science are similar things, but if consider design, you must use some scientific knowledges, but in design, the main idea is a beauty.
Okay, thanks.
I suppose that design is one of the part of science, because when you're developing something, you should not only think about its future usage, but you should trade it, sell it, so it's part of a design also.
Thanks.
I think that design is impossible without science, and science is impossible without design. It's very similar things for me.
I completely agree with my previous colleague. And I would like to add that design is more engineering. The design is created for performance engineering tasks, and the science is that thing which produced these tasks. So it's my opinion.
Thanks. And to my mind, designer put things together, but scientists just broke everything to pieces. Okay, thank you very much.
So, a few questions. And now you're going to listen to the second presentation about Baranov Central Institute of Aviation Motors. And I want to invite a representative from the group which has prepared.
Thank you, Kirill. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming here today. We are students of group number 462 of the Department of Aeromechanics and Flight Engineering at MIPT. Our names are Ivan Ilyukhin, Stanislav Belikov, Georgy Kachinov, Mikhail Sebastianov, and my name is Matvey Tsivinyuk. Today we are going to make a report about the Baranov Central Institute of Aviation Motors, CIAM. Our presentation is divided into 5 parts. Firstly, I'd like to tell you about activities of CIAM. Secondly, Ivan will tell you about history of the institute. After that, Stanislav will tell you about structure of CIAM. Then, Georgy will tell you about base organization at the MIPT. And finally, Mikhail will tell about CIAM's cooperation worldwide. In fact, CIAM studies include a wide scope of research and experiments. We can divide CIAM scientific work into several points. First of all, CIAM makes complex forecasts of aviation engines development, such as sub- and supersonic turbojets, helicopter engines, scramjets, turbojets for drones, surface turbojets, and so on. Secondly, the institute performs conceptual design and calculation of leading-edge jet engines. Thirdly, CIAM makes complex technical expertise of new and modified aircraft engines, gas turbines, gas turbine units for surface and marine transport, as well as power industry projects. CIAM also operates the unique computing complex of modeling processes in total jet engine flow path using mathematical models based mostly on numerical solution of Euler and Navier-Stokes equations. In addition to that, the institute conducts research in small-sized jet engine and does multiplicitary optimization of power plant parameters for maneuverable aircrafts, passenger and transport aviation powered by turbofans and turbojets. Now Ivan is going to tell you about history of CIAM.
Thank you, Matvey. Good morning, dear colleagues. Today I'm going to tell you about history of Central Institute of Aviation Motors. Next slide. Thank you. On 3rd of December in 1930s, Soviet government adopted the resolution of establishment on Consolidated Institute of Aviation Motors. It's interesting that before the war, piston engines were tested and developed at the institute. It's important to know that that in January 1935, the works of the institute in the field of prototype engine development were transferred to the design bureaus. Next slide, please. In 1940s, 1950s, the first generation of turbojet was developed. It's important that in 1943, Uvarov developed a combined turboprop with shaft provided both by the propeller and exhaust jet. It's important to know that that the first Russian turbojet was TR-1, designed by Arkhip Mikhailovich Yelka. Next slide, please. In fact, in 1950s, Russian engine manufacturing sector in many aspects outstripped foreign companies. The most significant event was engine R11300, because this two-shaft turbojet had only 6 compressor stages, including 3 supersonic stages. G79, the USA competitor, had 17 stages. Next slide, please. The technical innovations in third generation were the development of a bypass engine and the design of a turbine air cooling system that increased gas temperature at the turbine by 150-175 kelvins. For example, the engines for Tu-154 and the Il-62 aircraft. Next slide, please. In 1970s, 1980s, new technologies made possible an increase in gas temperature at the turbine inlet up to 1,500, 1,700 kelvins. It's lead to make that after that new engines for the most successful bypass engines for new maneuverable fighters, for example, RD-33 for MiG-29 were created. So that concludes my historical part of our presentation, and now Stanislav will tell you about structure of Central Institute of Aviation Motors. Thank you.
Thank you, Ivan. I'd like to tell you about sections of CIAM. Firstly, I'm going to tell you about experimental base of CIAM, and secondly, I will tell you about people. It needs to be stated that the Institute has a unique experimental base for testing engines, including model stands in Moscow and research and scientific center located in Latgale. Above all, there are more than 50 test bench tables testing jet engines. Firstly, there are model stands testing in Institute jet engines and their components. Secondly, thermal vacuum chamber tests certain engines. And thirdly, there are also aerodynamical stands, also test engines and its components. Another key point, the complex provides energetic equipment under conditions similar to the flight. The latter, Institute, has a unique experimental base for testing safety and capabilities of engines. For example, it allows to check safety, durability and other abilities of engines and their components. Also, capabilities of Institute allows to make a high level of mathematical modeling of physical processes. And finally, next slide please. Finally, staff consists of one academician of RAS, 36 doctors and 175 candidates of science. They take part in many scientific international forums and organizations. And now George Kachnov is going to tell about CIM-based organization.
Thank you, Stas. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending the conference. My name is George Kachnov, and now I'm going to have a little speech about Central Institute of Aviation Motors and its work at our department as a basic organization. CIM-based organization was founded earlier than the Department of Air Mechanics and Flight Engineering, but nowadays it's closely connected to the education process at our department. Firstly, problems of aerodynamics and thermal motion, and of course the ways of solution, the most needed in the world. Secondly, CIM research are applied to many spheres such as motor development, supersonic flows, energetics, and metallurgy, and so on. The main objective of CIM is providing of development of jet engines. Engine is the heart of any modern aircraft. Processes in engine are complex, so that the education process is complex too. Each student joining CIM-based department has a program that includes as a theoretical and a practice courses. During these courses, students learn hypersonic aerodynamics, numerical methods of computation, methods of modeling of complex flows, chemical and physical processes in exhaust, ecological problems, and has practical research at the nuclear installation. Education is possible at 2 degrees, as a bachelor for 4 semesters and as a magister for 4 extra semesters. Education is chiefly scientific, so the problems to solve are general. I'd like to notice that the fact that 2 academies of Russian Academy of Sciences, 42 doctors and 250 PhDs work in CIAM. It's a really powerful scientific cadre doing research, carrying out experiments, teaching and developing theories. That was about study. What's about work and life? Any student can apply for a part-time job in the institute. Work doesn't interfere studying or making the diploma. Conversely, student gets extra knowledge and extra practice on actual program. Also, the institute offers work in governmental and foreign company projects, but it doesn't enter into the scope of my part, so let me yield the floor to Mikhail, who will tell you about the CIM cooperation, and thank you for your attention. Hope this information is useful for you.
Thank you, Georgi. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today I would like to tell you about CIAM cooperation with other companies. Firstly, I would like to tell you about its partnership with foreign companies. Secondly, I will tell you about its participation in international scientific cooperation. After that, some conclusion will come. So, let's start with partnership. CIAM has very high technical and scientific potential. In addition, it has the best experimental base in Europe. It should be mentioned that CIAM cooperates with the world's biggest companies like Airbus, Boeing, General Electric, Aircraft Engines, and Pratt & Whitney. Also, Institute has good relationship with research centers like ONIRA in France, Wankerman Institute for Fluid Dynamics, China Aerodynamics Research and Development Center, and Korea Institute of Science and Technology. It's all about international partnership with foreign companies. Let's move to the next part of my speech. This part is devoted to international scientific cooperation. It's interesting that since 2005, CIAM take part in a 6th framework program of European Union, like high-speed aircraft and CESAR, cost-effective small aircraft, and
little, environmentally friendly aircraft engine.
If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask them.
Is there anybody who is going to apply to CERN for further studies?
Sorry, repeat please.
Is there anybody who is going to apply to CERN for CERN? I mean, you are second year students, right?
Yeah.
And you are going to choose the company for or base institute for your further studies, right?
Thank you for your question. As far as I know, I am the only person who is thinking about that.
And what are you going to do there?
What?
What are you going to do there?
To develop engines.
What kind of?
Strong ones.
What range of speed?
What?
What range of speed?
Hypersonic.
Good.
Thank you for your attention. Now I'd like to pass microphone to Kirill to continue today's event.
That was the presentation about Baranov Central Institute of Aviation Motors. And moving on, you're going to listen to the next presentation about Tikhomirov Scientific Research Institute of Instrument Design.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's really nice to see all of you here today. I'm going to start by introducing myself. My name is Lapshuk Yaroslav, and my colleague is Tatiana Efremova. We are students of the Department of Aeromechanics and Flight Engineering, Moscow Institute of Physics and Technology, DAFE MIPT for short. We have been asked to give you a general overview of the MIPT's basic enterprise Tikhomirov Scientific Research Institute of Instrument Design. We would like to give you some essential background information about it. We have divided our presentation into two main parts. In the first part, we would like to tell you about the history of Tikhomirov NIP, and in the second one, we will give you some information about the present achievements and spheres of development. So that concludes the introduction. If you have any questions, please leave them until the end, and I will be happy to answer them. So here is now Tatiana to talk about the history of NIP.
Thank you, Yaroslav. The first thing that should be noted that Tikhomirov Scientific Research Institute of Instrument Design was founded on the 1st March 1955 as a branch of Moscow Research Institute NI-17 under the Ministry of Aircraft Industry. The main task facing the startup enterprise was the development of aircraft radar equipment. It should be mentioned that the founder of Tikhomirov NIP and his followers were the beginnings of the development on board radar systems. By 1955, the scope of activities of their team increased very much. Therefore, it caused the necessity of creating a separate branch. Such a branch was founded at Gromov Flight Research Institute, which initiated the today's Tikhomirov NIP. By the way, during the 1950s, one of the best schools of aircraft and anti-aircraft defense system developers was originated at the Research Institute to the force of Tikhomirov and his closest teammates, Grishin, Rostov, Matyashov, Sapsovich. Its peculiarity was tough spirit for a final result, the desire for absolute and full customization. Thus, the basis of each new development was advanced to traditional decisions, the most part of which took the lead over the best world achievements. In late 1950s, the Soviet government staked on the continental missiles and ground-based air defense missile complexes. Consequence of this was moon invasion to the background. Accordingly, for about a decade, NIP was switched over from the aircraft research area to the development of mobile air defense missile complexes for land forces AD. Meanwhile, Tikhomirov team returned to the aircraft subject, participated in the activities in upgrading the Fil-23 radar, being developed in the design office of radio engineering, where NIP participated up to 1974. In my part, I have tried to tell you about historical development of Tikhomirov Scientific Research Institute of Instrument Design. And now, let me give the floor to Yaroslav.
Thank you, Tatiana. Let's continue, but by looking at the present of NIP. As of now, the trademark of NIP is the systems, the radar systems of Su-27, Su-30, Su-35, MiG-31 fighters, as well as anti-aircraft defense systems for land forces. For example, Buk series. NIP is a unique enterprise in a Russian defense complex, which stood at the origins of the developing of radar systems. On the one hand, NIP has developed systems, the onboard radar systems for fighters, which main task is to neutralize enemy anti-aircraft defense. On the other hand, it is the developer of systems, middle-range air missile defense systems for land forces, which task is the protection against air threats. Moreover, both of these spheres have been successfully developing throughout the years, in parallel, complementing and improving each other. Recently, NIP has become one of the MIPT's core business. It is clear that students can start work there when they become juniors. Therefore, we hope that the research institute will continue to interact with our university, of course, and will give us an opportunity to work in such interesting spheres. That brings us to the end of our presentation. So, to sum up what we have seen. The NIP is one of the unique enterprise for Russian defense complex. There are four main spheres of development right now. The first one is onboard radar systems for fighters. The second one is the anti-aircraft defense systems for land forces. And the third one is automatic systems of control, diagnostic and safety for trains. And the last one is a sonar systems, sonar equipment for sea research and prospecting works in water areas. So finally, I would like to thank all of you for your attention and interest. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Okay, this gentleman wants to ask the question.
Yes, I have a question. As I understand, Yaroslav, you will work for the Tikhomirov NIP after the graduation, yes?
Sure.
And in what part of scientific research in this NIP you want to take part?
I am not completely sure about it, but actually I don't really know a lot of all of the parts, but I know about the systems of control for trains. There is a system, it already exists, which allow you to automatically control the train, and there were tests, and it was a successful test when the train was controlled by automatic system. And that's an interesting sphere actually. But there are some issues because Moscow is a really big city, you know, a lot of people, and the traffic problems need to be solved. So that's why we need to improve. I say we already, yes. That might be my way, you know. So this system needs to be improved to solve all these problems. So I think I might be in this sphere.
So thank you for answering. It was really interesting information.
Yes. Any other questions? No, this gentleman.
I have just one question to all of speakers.
All of you. Tatiana, please come here.
Okay, two, not bad. You've been talking about instrumentation, right?
Yep.
Please indicate your favorite device and explain in a few words why do you like it so much.
Instruments, you mean?
Tool, device, anything. Screwdriver, computer, gadget. What is your favorite and why do you like it so much?
Why do I like any kind of devices, you mean? Yes?
Your favorite.
My favorite device.
What is your favorite device?
Okay, my favorite device. I think it's a computer.
Okay.
Everybody will agree with me, I think. Because computer gives us an opportunity. We can browse the internet, the web. We can find any information that we want. We can learn. We can see. We can entertain. You can do everything. Actually, that's why I think the computer is my favorite. So, Tatiana?
I agree with Yaroslav, but my favorite device is telephone. Because it's always with me, it helped me not only to communicate with my friends, parents, but also it helped me in studying. Because there is a lot of functions like word paint, so it is like a mini computer. So it is really good for our life because in our future, I think computers became as the members of our family.
And what part of your active time do you spend on a phone?
Oh, it is difficult to answer, but I think telephone will be my friend.
Do you use it on lectures?
No.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Oh, this gentleman? Oh, okay, what's...
Yes, thank you for the presentation. My question is, Tatiana, you have spoken of miniaturization, so mini computer. And my question is, as far as I think everyone today knows, miniaturization is a really important aspect of developing instruments, developing devices. So, can you tell, just roughly, what is the size, what are the sizes of any instrument developed in NIIB, in Tikhomirov NIIB? Thank you.
I understand that you want to know the sizes of the inventions of NIIB.
Yes, yes. Not exactly the inventions, but of any instrument, you know, aircraft radar or maybe naval radar for the boats that was developed in NIIB. Or maybe I am wrong and NIIB doesn't develop things, but it does research.
Okay. It depends on the kind of the instrument. For example, the radars for airplane defense, it is should be very big for sizes. And for example, automatic trains systems, it shouldn't be so big. It is like I can't to explain, like 2 telephones maybe, not like a television TV sizes.
Thank you very much.
Wait a second. I think the gentleman want to find out if NIIB developed something or just do a research, yes?
Or it was an additional question?
No, my question was about the sizes.
Oh.
The sizes.
Oh,
Maybe,
yes.
and maybe about some instruments, NIP has developed. And could you name some of them? Maybe tell us something about them.
Okay. For example, anti-aircraft defense systems like book series, for example, they are sure a big thing, just like a tank, for example. I mean the size, The automatic control systems for trains, for example, they are not that big. It's just an additional, just not a big box, just like a box that you add to your train, and it help you to make this control. And speaking about the radar systems, they are not that big, but yet they are bigger than that boxes, for example. It's just like 1 meter, I think, not 1.5 meter in a diameter, something like this.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Just one little extra question.
Okay.
Does NIP develop the whole book defense system, or maybe some essential parts of it, like the radar or the computer? What exactly is the work of NIP in that device?
Check this out on nip.ru/inc.
Thank you. I surely will. Thank you.
Is there any questions?
Yes.
Okay, this gentleman.
What can you say about technical facilities of this institute?
Technical facilities?
Yes, or equipment.
That's not a question I would discuss here today, so sorry. Find me at coffee break. So I see those gentlemen, he wants to ask a question. Please give him a mic.
Well, thank you for your presentation. And my question will be, what do you think about influence of your research institute for the development of aircraft science, maybe for the last half of the century?
Can you please repeat what science did you? I just didn't get this.
Just for the science.
Oh, just for the science. NIP has developed the systems, the radar systems at most. Systems which help us to detect, indicate, for example, and track some air objects, aircrafts, high maneuvering and something like this. I think it's not about the science, but about the practice, because these systems are essential in our defense complex. That's why we need to put it into the production. And of course, there is a research before it, but I do think that still it's more about practice.
Okay, thank you very much.
Is there any questions? Okay, thank you all.
Thank you for your presentation.
Okay.
I have a question. Tell us, please, how many MIPT graduates work in Tikhomirov Institute, and what is the percent of all Tikhomirov Institute's employers are MIPT graduates?
That's a nice question, actually. This percent is not that high. It's just about, I would say like this. Out of all second-year students, there are only 4 people who will work there. And about the statistics of employers there, I don't really know, so I can't say properly.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Okay, thank all of you for coming here today, and I will give the floor to the Kirill.
So that was the presentation about Tikhomirov Research Institute, and now you're going to listen to the presentation about Gazprom NIGAS and the Institute of Oil and Gas Academy of Sciences.
Thank you, Kirill. First of all, let me thank you for coming here today. My name is Tatiana Kuzmina, and I am a second-year student of Department of Aeromechanics and Flight Engineering, DAFE for short, of Moscow Institute of Physics and Technology, MIPT for short. In this presentation, I will tell you about the Department of Fundamentals of Gas Case and its base organizations. I have divided my presentation into 4 main points. First point is common information, secondly, base organizations, thirdly, scientific tasks which are set in the department, and finally, I will show you a sphere where you can get a job after graduating. My presentation will take about 8 minutes. If there are any questions you would like to ask, please leave them until the end of my talk, when I do all my best to answer them. Now let's move to the first part, which is about common information. It's a well-known fact that the department was founded in 1995. In fact, this year the management of Gazprom, realizing the importance of training scientific workers of the new generation, entered an agreement with annual target MIPT admission of students for scientific and design organizations of the gas industry based on DAFE MIPT. The head of the department is Vyacheslav Maximov. I would like to say a few words about him. He is known to be an honored scientist of the Russian Federation, Doctor of Technical Sciences, and Professor. That's all common information I would like to say you. Now let's move to the second part, which is about base organizations. The base institutions are, firstly, the Institute of Oil and Gas Academy of Sciences, and secondly, EUGAS for short, and secondly, Russian Scientific Research Institute of Natural Gases and Gas Technology, Gazprom VNIGAS for short. Above all, EUGAS, which was founded in 1987, is considered to be the only organization in Russian Academy of Sciences carries out research on the entire process, from the geological prospecting and exploration and theory of gas and oil development to the economy and ecological problems of gas complex. Like this, NIGAS, which was founded in 1948, is known to be the main organization of the gas industry. That's all about base organizations. And now let's move to the educational activity. Currently, the department trained 15 students from 4th to 6th year and 4 postgraduates. Also, the staff of the department includes leading specialists of EUGAS, NIGAS, and DAFE MIPT, including 13 doctors of science and 5 candidates for Doctor of Science. Additionally, the department raises engineers, physicists on the main directions of the gas industry, which are reflected into bachelor's and master's works of students. In fact, presented to the protection, bachelor's and master's works demonstrate the successful application of this scientific knowledge to solving the problems of the real practical implementation projects. On the slide, you can see, previous slide please. On the slide, you can see disciplines which are read at the department. And I would like to tell about another. For example, the principles of geology, underground fluid mechanics, and physico-chemical hydrodynamics of the layer. As you can see on the screen, the main directions of this department are drilling, gas production, underground gas storage, I'm sorry, I have forgot what I mentioned also. So the gas production, transport of gas, underground gas storage, drilling and gas processing. Let's move to the next part where I would like to show you sphere where you can get a job. As an illustration by the example of graduates this department in the year 2006, you can see what post can you occupy in your future after graduating. This leads me to the end of my presentation. Let me give you a summary of what I have been told last minute. Firstly, I told you common information of this department. Secondly, I presented base organizations. Thirdly, we looked at the educational activity of this department. And finally, I showed you sphere where you can get a job. That's all. Thank you for your attention. If there are any questions, I would be glad to answer them.
Tatiana, thank you for your presentation of gas fundamentals department. Are you going to study at this department?
Thank you for your question. Sorry, I am studying informatics and this department for physics, so I can't go in this department.
Okay. Maybe you know any applied gas dynamic devices or technologies which can be used in gas industry?
It's a pity, but I don't know.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your question. I heard it.
Okay, thank you.
I think that it will be some alternative resources, for example, solar energy or maybe wind energy. If I'm not mistaken, even now these sources are widely used in our world.
So you have just listened to the presentation about Gazprom, an Institute of Gas and Oil Research. And now you're going to listen to the last presentation about a public joint stock company, Scientific and Production Association, Almaz. Almaz for short. And to begin with, we would like to thank you for visiting our presentation, and we hope that it will be interesting for you. In this case, as I have mentioned, we are going to tell you about Almaz. And in this case, our presentation is divided into 4 parts. The first is about history of Almaz, which you will hear from Kolesnikov Maxim. The second is about current scientific problems, which will be enlightened by Marinov Alexander. The third topic is devoted to prospects of development. You will hear it from Zaitseva Elizabeth. And the last one is about cooperation with DAFE, about the work that students and Almaz can do together. I assume also Kirill will give it. Dear audience, if you have any questions to ask, please leave them till the end of our presentation and we will be glad to answer them. And now I would like to invite my colleague, Kolesnikov Maxim, who will speak about history of Almaz.
Thank you, Kirill, for the introduction. I am Maxim Kolesnikov, and I'm here to give a talk about history of Almaz and DAFE. To begin with, PO Concern Almaz and DAFE is one of the oldest departments in MIPT that supports the institute and its students. The history of Almaz and DAFE starts in 2002, when, under the decree of the President of the Russian Federation, 46 enterprises were merged into GSC Concern PO Almaz and DAFE. There are different facilities such as scientific research facilities, production facilities, factories and design bureaus. They are aimed to invent and build anti-air missile systems of short, medium and long range, radar jammers and reconnaissance, and automated control systems. In In 2007, there was an enlargement of the concern, and now it includes more than 60 companies from all over the country. What is more, the concern was the first company to face the problems in creating share capital that were made by the government when they established the company under the federal target program of reforming and developing of industrial military complex. And this is the end of my part, and now I want to invite Marina Alexander to speak about current science problems. Thank you.
Thank you, Maxim. Morning, everyone. So you have just heard some information about Almas Antei's history, and now it's my turn to come up with another part of our presentation, which is scientific research methods of Almas Antei. I'm not sure that it's the slide I want to see on the screen, but never mind. Firstly, you will hear from me the main scientific approaches being used by Almas Antei company. After that, you will be acquainted with the main products, military and civilian products produced by this company. And after that, I will finish with a small conclusion, a brief one, and I will give a floor to my colleague. So I hope it's clear now, and we can start with research methods of Almas Antei. I wanted to see the slide of. Is it okay when I speak this way, or it's too loud? It's all right. Okay. First of all, I wanted to see the slide of Russian airspace forces, and the reason why, I don't know the reason why there is no such slide, but I wanted to see it because Almas Antei is a state-owned company in armed forces. The radar stations which are organized to groups according to their aim to detect air, to detect something in air or on land. And also control systems which maintain control of all the units on the battlefield or maybe in some civilian. Now we are going to speak about civilian, so I can add that in the civil sphere it's also very useful. So what about civilian products? First of all, it's telecommunication equipment. This equipment is used widely and spread widely. For example, tools for using GLONASS systems, an analog of GPS to be free from other countries. Example, air traffic control equipment. It's an example of military technology transformation into the civil one. Next slide. Fuel and energy industry equipment and lifting and handling equipment. I want to mention these two spheres because they are closely connected with the maintaining of the machine sphere. And it's also a very important part of Almas Antei's corporation's ideas, aims, and targets. And of course, transport equipment, we can see it almost everywhere, different control systems used widely, for example, in metro of Moscow. And some other utilities such as gas meters and all other kinds of things. So that's everything I wanted to tell you, except the only one thing. The main aim of my part, what I wanted to tell you, I'm sure that most of you want to hear the answer on the question if I'm going to work at the Almas Antei Corporation, what will I do? This answer you will hear in the next part of our presentation. And I'm going to answer another question.
And I want you to ask it to yourself. Do you want your work to be, the result of your work to be useful for everyone, or just for a wide range, a really wide group of people? If yes, you can see that Almaz and Tay Corporation can give you the floor to create something or to make a small part of something great which will be really useful. On this note, I'm going to finish my part and to invite my colleague, Zaitseva Elizabeth, who will speak about the prospects of the development. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexander, for your presentation. My name is Elizaveta Zaitseva. My purpose today is to acquaint you with the main development prospects and future plans of Almaz and Tay Corporation. So let's move on to the theme of the presentation. As a first part of my piece of our presentation, I would like to remind you once again about main objectives of a company. The concern sees its principal aim in protecting the sky above our country so that it could be peaceful at any time. That is why satisfying the government's needs in weaponry and anti-aircraft defense for the convenience of the country is a concern to be the mission of the company. Next points are in the list of Almaz and Tay's targets are the implementation of state armaments programs, maintaining the required level of mobilization capacities, and expanding the volume of foreign trade activities. Lastly, I would like to mention the development production of high-tech products for military, civil, and dual purposes, competitive in domestic and foreign regions or markets, and also creation of modern weapon and military equipment and the development of advanced technologies. Now let us move to the next part of my talk, which is about the development prospects and business priorities themselves. I can name several topics as the main corporation's development perspectives. Firstly, it is ensuring product life cycle of the concern's profile and includes development, production, modernization, maintenance, repair and disposal of anti-aircraft missile systems and the accompanied radar systems, radar equipment, weapon control systems, and other products of different purposes. Another perspective is connected with the implementation of foreign trade in weapons, military equipment, works, services, results of intellectual activity, and other products for military, civil, and dual purposes, as well as other independent foreign trade activities. Lastly, I would like to emphasize once again that Almaz and Tay is seriously engaged into the development and implementation of scientific, technological, and innovation programs, and what is even more important, in modernization of existing and creation of new industries. That brings me to the end of my presentation. I trust you gained an insight into the principal prospects of Almaz and Tay development. And now I'd like to pass the word to my colleague Kirill, who will tell you about how the concern works with DAFE students.
Thank you, Elizaveta. And continuing the subject, I want to give you an information about the work that DAFE students and Almaz can do together. It's worth mentioning that a very small percentage of employees in Almaz are MIPT graduates. If I'm not mistaken, it's about 70 out of 5,000. So the question is, why so? Why Almaz recruits such a small amount of MIPT graduates? However, the answer is simple. Despite the fact that Almaz projects suppose mostly engineering tasks, some of them can be extremely complex. And there appears a necessity to find an extraordinary solution that can make everything easier. Moreover, this necessity is equal to the need of hiring MIPT graduates who have the ability to find this extraordinary solution because they have a considerable knowledge in many branches of physics. So that was the background about collaboration between Almaz and MIPT. And moving on, let me give you a specific example of work in Almaz. Let me enlighten you with giving you an instance of problem being solved at Almaz. So there is a need to investigate the propagation of optical radiation through the atmosphere from a source set on the aircraft. I know that this sentence is rather hard to explain and rather hard to understand, but just look at this slide. You have an aircraft, and you set an optical source on it. You can see the pink ray. And you investigate the propagation of optical radiation through the atmosphere. Due to this, there are many questions appear. For example, how to set this source on an aircraft? If there were a hatchway in a fuselage or some kind of gates, how it would affect it? And how the refraction would change it. Moreover, the person who is supposed to control it should have an automatic control station. And there appears another task, to equip the station and to program it. Therefore, mainly MIPT graduates solve such a multiplicity of issues. They combine them and see the problem entirely. And then they come up with the idea of a compromise solution. So that was the specific example of work in Almaz. And now, moving on, let me give you an information about the opportunities that students can get choosing the Almaz department. Firstly, as was mentioned, they can take part in real projects in the defense industry of our country, solving real problems. Secondly, they can write a bachelor thesis and then a master's thesis, looking for a solution of a problem that can protect our country. And finally, after graduating, they have 4 years of experience in the field of aviation industry and aeromechanics and flight engineering, which is the most useful for graduates. So it brings us to the end of my speech and our presentation, and now let me give you a short conclusion. To sum up, we have told you about main prospects about Almaz, from its history to perspectives of development, paying attention to the current scientific tasks and the role of DAFE students in this problem solving. And now it's the best time for your questions if you have some to ask. Yes, thank you.
Thank you for your presentation, and I have a question. Do you know why does this company called Almaz?
That's a really interesting question, but personally I don't know what's the specific explanation of such an calling. Maybe my colleagues know. No. Maybe you can explain now.
As far as I know, there were 2 different companies, Almaz and Antey. They cooperated and it became Almaz Antey.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions? Yes, Maxim Alexandrovich.
Hello, my name is Maxim Alexandrovich. Deputy in Science and Innovation and head of the laboratory which you have mentioned. So first of all, of course, I invite all of you to our laboratory where you can take part in projects and investigations. You have talked about land forces and about very interesting project concerning aircraft and lasers on it. And of course, there is another part of the products concerning ships. And about the name of the company, Almaz Antey. To tell the truth, there are 2 companies nowadays. Concern Almaz Antey. It includes 53 companies, and we communicate, we work only with one of these companies. It's called Scientific Productional Association, Almaz, which is situated on Sokol. So we work only with this one company, Almaz, not Almaz Antey. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for invitation. Any other questions? So thank you for your attention. And moving on to the last part of our event, we would like to thank you for your attention and for your participation here. And we hope that we will meet you at the next student conference. Thank you. Goodbye.
Stop reading. I want to say several words about your presentation. I'm very pleased with it, and I want to present you several original journals.
Thank you very much.
From Chair of General Physics.
Thank you. Very, very interesting. We want to read it. Thank you. If that's all, thank you one more time and goodbye.